Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today, well, before we get going in today's video, if you don't care about this, just skip forward like 40 seconds. I do apologize for missing last night's live stream. My sister's graduating today, so I wound up having to leave a lot sooner than I originally thought I would have to, so I wasn't able to make the live stream last night and still make enough videos to cover the weekend, so I do apologize for that, but no worries, we'll be streaming next week, Friday, so this Friday coming up, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. as normal, right here on the channel and on Twitch. So make sure you come around for that. And actually, not too long after this Friday, I think just 2 more Fridays, we'll go back to the 2 live streams a week because summer will finally be here for me. School year's finally coming to a close, and I'll be able to do those 2 streams a week. So make sure you stick around for that. But anyway, guys, on to the video today. So, as the title of this video says, I actually don't know what I'm going to call this yet. Probably something along the lines of it's time for an HE rework, because it really is. But anyway, so yeah, we're talking about HE, in particular fires today, and how the fire system, the HE system in the game, really needs an overhaul with how the game has progressed just in the past 2 years. Like I've mentioned before, you know, we've gone from Des Moines, Salem, and Calvados being the worst HE spammers in the game to now where there's multiple ships that can just absolutely just flood the sky with a constant round of HE. I mean, back in the day when like the Wooster came out and the Harugumo came out, it was insane to see just a constant streaming line of HE in the sky. That used to be something only the Atlanta could do, but now this has become proliferant at tier 7 through higher tier, and it's so prominent that it's one of the core reasons that I believe at least Battleship players aren't pushing up. And I'm a Battleship main, of course, as many of you know, and every time I think about pushing up, that's always in the back of my mind. Where's the Smolensk? Where's the Austin? Where's the Wooster? Where's the Harugumo? Where's the Smolin? And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Because I know the second I'm in my Kurfürst, my Montana, my Kremlin, my whatever battleship I'm in, the second I get within range of that ship, I am going to be their target. And part of being a battleship main is being okay with that, because that's what battleships are supposed to do. You are supposed to tank for your team. You got a lot of armor, you got a lot of health, that's your job. But HE, of course, pretty much ignores armor when it comes to fires. Now, of course, armor does matter for HE pins, but there's so many ships that don't really need to care about pins because they're so good at starting fires that it doesn't matter. Your big old battleship with, you know, a ton of armor welded to it will still burn, because that ship that you're bowing to or that you're trying to deal with, by the time you get within his range, he's already been waiting for you to get there, and just sitting in there for a couple of minutes under his constant HE spam, you're probably already halfway dead, if not dead. And that's just one ship, not counting the other ships that are going to be shooting at you because you're a battleship pushing in. To where now battleships can really only push in if they're accompanied by half the team sometimes. And even then, they'll probably still get melted down and sunk, which is fine for fulfilling the role of helping your team push. Like I've said before on this channel too, if I'm in a battleship and I'm pushing and I die, but my team keeps up the push, and the momentum that we've managed to create with that push carries on to either pushing the enemy team out of the cap and us going on to win the game, that's fine. That's part of fulfilling that role of a battleship. But this giant battleship can be stopped by 1 DD if its guns fire fast enough, even if it doesn't have that high of a fire chance per shell. But most of these ships most certainly do. So that's the issue. And how do you combat this issue as a battleship is you have a couple of options. You can either, of course, balance your damage con with your heal. By that, I mean, okay, I'm pushing, I'm being spammed by, I don't know, Smolensk. You know, he's out of my sight in somebody's smoke screen, or just, you know, hugging an island just so to where he's getting his shells on me. Okay, he's spamming me. Okay, he's got 1 fire set. I'm at almost full health, so I'm going to go ahead and eat that fire. Okay, he's got 2 fires set. Okay, I'm still mostly at full health. Okay, he's got 3 fires set. Okay, I'm going to pop my damage con. By doing that, you, of course, you're eating the damage from that 1 fire, then that 2nd fire. You're sacrificing your HP to stay alive, of course. Then you pop your damage con to put those fires out. And depending upon what nation you're playing, sometimes the damage con is 10, 15, or if you're playing the American battleships, 20 seconds long. And for the duration of that damage con, no more fires can be set. But since he's still unspotted, either if he's in someone's smoke or he's hugging on and staying unspotted, he's just going to keep shooting you. And sure enough, when that damage con runs out because of his insane fire rate, he's going to start a fire again. Okay, at this point, you pop your heal. That heal is going to run for, again, depending upon what nation you're playing, a certain amount of time. And during that time, your heal can pretty much overtake about 1 fire ticking. 2 fires, again, depending upon if you got like the improved heal of like the Thunderer, or of course the Dry Dock heal of the Conqueror, or even the improved American battleship heal. It can probably negate the damage of 2 fires. But when he sets that 3rd fire on you in just a few seconds because of his insane fire rate, your heal is now just, of course, being overmatched by the 3 fires burning. And if you're playing a secondary build battleship, you probably don't have fire prevention, so he's going to start a 4th fire on you, and now you're pretty much dead, because unless you're playing like the Massachusetts or one of the Russian battleship with their fast cooldown time and their damage con, it's not going to come off of its cooldown in time to save your ship, and of course neither is your heal. And this can all happen within a matter of minutes with battleships. It's why so many don't push in, because they know that if they make one mistake and become the target of that HE spammer, they're essentially dead. And all that HE spammer has to do to kill them is sit in the smoke or sit undetected and keep throwing their HE at them. Now, of course, the battleship player could turn around, could disengage this, that, and the other, but battleships, they're not the most nimble of creatures, unless you're playing something, of course, like the Vanguard, and by the time they get out of there, they're either going to be at very low health or they may wind up being sunk anyway, because, of course, it's not going to be just the one guy shooting at you unless he's the only guy on that flank, and in that case, sure, you might live, but he's probably have friends with him, and you're probably dead or going to be effectively out of the match until you can lick your wounds and repair that damage. But Sealord, fire damage is 100% recoverable. It is, but again, surviving to that point is the difficult part, because most times you won't. And what will you have accomplished? You will have effectively traded all of your health just to boost that guy's damage stats in that ship, because so many team members don't push in. And it's for a lot of the same reasons. Large cruisers now, why would they ever get close? They can't even build into survivability anymore. DDs, why would they want to get near a ship that can utterly melt them in a few seconds, like the new German DDs? Sure, they got great AP and great AP alpha, and if they catch a DD alone, they might be able to win, but if they run to one of these DDs, like the higher tier Japanese gunboats, the Smalllands, the French DDs, they're just boned either way, because they can't out DPM them, of course. And normal DDs don't want to engage those guys anyway, let alone the freaking jumbo German DDs, just to mention a class there. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do. Someone by just pressing 1 and holding down left mouse will sink you, because just the way the game works. And that's why we need to change some of these mechanics. And a couple of suggestions that I've said before is that they need to do something along the lines of, 1, apply the damage saturation model to fires. For example, a fire gets set on your deck, that area burns, the first fire burns at 100% damage. That area gets set on fire again, it's already burned there once, the deck is burnt, anything on the deck has been burnt. I mean, the model visually changes after a place is taking fire damage. It only burns for 75% of the damage. Fire goes out, or you use damage con on it, gets set on fire again. This time it only burns for 50% of the damage. See what I'm saying? The area is burnt. It's been burnt. You're not going to be burning as much material the second and third and fourth go round. If you ever lit a fire before and tried to light a log that's been burned back on fire, it doesn't exactly work. So that's applying that logic to there. It makes perfect sense in my mind, and I think it's time something like that's been introduced. Or they add in a new battleship commander skill. Or they could kind of rework the fire prevention skill to where when you take the fire prevention skill, it now doubles the runtime of your damage con, meaning that your damage con will be active for twice the amount of time as before, giving battleship players, let's say if you're playing the American battleships, that'll give you almost 40-50 seconds to push in. That way you can tank that fire damage by not allowing it to happen, and that HE spammer will have to, of course, move, because now he's not going to be able to set you on fire. Gives you the survivability you need to push in. Or if you run into a bad situation like this, you pop it, your fire prevention, your damage con is running for twice the amount of time now, gives you a chance to get out of there, giving battleships some reason to push it, or some confidence to push in, to where they know at least, hey, for this 20-30 seconds that I got this damage con running, I'm good. I can get out of that situation. I can continue to push if I need to. I can take the damage for my team. And of course, still, when your damage con goes off, you can get set back on fire again, which again is plenty of time for that DD or cruiser or FDR to set you on fire, but you still have your heal to fall back on to kind of offset the damage from that fire. That, or this was something that I read, and I can't remember who commented it, and I don't remember on what video it was, so I can't really find it. But they said that, like, it should definitely go by caliber in terms of your chance to start a fire. Meaning that, for example, destroyer guns, they hit your deck, they start a small fire that takes for a little bit of damage. Now they have to hit that part of the deck again to make that into a bigger fire. It would take something like 3 or 4 hits to make that into a full-sized fire comparable to a BB shell's fire. Whereas if you're playing something like the Thunderer, and, well, of course it's the Thunderer, so 18-inch shell, it immediately goes to that bigger fire because it is, of course, a bigger shell. Something like that I think would be a pretty good implementation too. That adds a bit more skill to the HE part of it. Because HE, all you have to do with HE to start a fire is just hit the ship, and that's it. And you just pray to the RNG gods that you get a fire. That's all you have to do. With AP, you have to aim for the right part of the ship to do your pin damage. If you don't hit the right part of the ship, you hit, let's say, the armor belt. When it's angled, you do no damage, you get a bounce. You hit a part of the ship that's not armored enough, you get an overpin, you get 10% of the damage instead of the full pin effects. You hit a damage saturated area, you get less damage. And of course, I'm just talking about starting a fire. Of course, HE pins, that's a different story, but we're just talking about fires here. So that's my thoughts on fire as a whole right now, and how we really do need to rework the system, because again, so many players are sitting in the back because I don't want my ship to be burned out on me for nothing. And again, this is just one part of why players are sitting back. Is this the sole reason as to why players are sitting in the back? No, absolutely not. But I do believe this is truly playing a big chunk in it, especially for battleships. Because again, we push in, we get burned down in a few minutes, sometimes under a minute, depending upon what ship it is, you know? So that's what I think about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 25,000 subs, just past 24,800 a few days ago, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you're all having a wonderful Saturday. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.